All right, well, let's just address the elephant in the room. The t-shirt gag is a little bit off today. I know we're talking about the MMA goat. It's the boxing shirt, the boxing goat, whatever. I don't give a fuck. It's close enough. Also, we got a real tablecloth this time, and I gotta say, completely unnecessary upgrade. I could have just stuck with the bed sheets. They're the same thing. Bed sheets and tablecloths are the same exact thing. I refuse to be told otherwise. So anyways, today we're talking about the MMA GOAT, and there's only a few options when talking about the GOAT of MMA, so I'm just going to go through the options and then we can say who I think it is. Starting out with Khabib, no. He retired too early, not enough title defenses. Also, like I said, his undefeated streak doesn't really mean that much when a third of those guys have never won a fight in their life, so I don't know what to tell you. Also, you can't be the GOAT if your student is already better than you. Like, Islam Makhachev is his student, and he's already surpassed Khabib. While I'm on it, Islam also can't be the GOAT because we've seen him get knocked out. So if you want to go get your get back, fine. But until then, next we have George St. Pierre, who is a legend, a two-division champion as well. But you really can't put him as GOAT either, in my opinion. A GOAT wouldn't lose twice. Although he got his get back. He beat Matt Serra and Matt Hughes the second time, beat the shit out of him the second time. Really got his get back. But again, would a GOAT lose twice in the first place? I don't know. Not to take anything away from him, he's one of the greats, but not the GOAT in my opinion. Next is Anderson Silva, who for a long time was the undeniable GOAT. You couldn't really say anything about it, but he tried to pull a LeBron, played way past his prime, and I was just taking too many unnecessary L's. Taking an L against Jake Paul, I don't care if it was in boxing, I don't care if it was scripted. He ruined his legacy. He probably should have just stopped after the Chris Weidman fight. He got too cocky, got knocked out, then came back for the second one, shattered his leg.
John Danaher, oh my goodness. John Danaher.
He was never the same after that, so I don't know. As much as I love Anderson Silva, he ruined it for himself, so what are you going to do? Next, we have Demetrious Johnson, who is one of the greatest martial artists of all time, in my opinion. He beat Anderson Silva's defense record with 11 straight title defenses, which is just wild. That's a crazy accolade to have. He has 4 losses on his resume, given 3 of those are by decision. I hate decisions. I don't really count those. We'll get more into that later. But one of those did come by knockout. It was a knee to a grounded opponent, which is different rules. You're allowed to do that in one championship. You're not allowed to do that in the UFC, but he knew that. He knew the rules when he went in. He did get his get back, though, and the same way. He kneed that guy in the head in the second fight.
Big right, DJ, he's standing, big knee!
Then they fought a third time. I can't count that one because by proxy, I just said I don't count decisions. So in my mind, he's 1-1, and it brings me back to, would a GOAT ever need to get his get back, or would they just do it right the first time? I don't know. Next, we have John Jones, and yeah, you knew where this was going. He's clearly the GOAT. He's undefeated against actual opponents, not Khabib's listed tomato cans. His record is consisted of all legends. It's actually insane when you look at it. He's fought the who's who of MMA. Not only that, 2-division champion and the youngest champion that the UFC has ever had at 23 years old. Which leads me to this, because I think a lot of people forget he was a 20-something-year-old kid being dropped into arguably the most stacked division the UFC has ever had. And he whooped them all, dude. Like Joe Rogan said, it's just a man against boys, right? He was beating these guys like he was their dad. And this was pre-USADA, before the drug tests were really good. So obviously, now we have to talk about John Jones' drug use that I brought up USADA. I don't care. I don't care if John was juicing or if he wasn't. He's not the only guy who's juiced. He's just one of the guys that got caught. There's probably plenty of guys on the roster right now who are juicing, and there's new shit on the market every year. There's new methods to sneak around the system, whatever, right? Steroids do not make you a better fighter. That is a fact. And if you want to argue, don't argue with me, all right? Don't shoot the messenger. Go argue with DC, because he's the one who said it. It ain't drugs, all right? That is John Jones' fighting ability.
And how can you not respect that? Look, be like Chael. Say it. I did steroids. So what? Steroids don't help you fight. They help you train. Inside that octagon, though, that's not the steroids. That's John Jones' fighting ability.
And I get it, right? I like Cody Garbrandt. I didn't want him to lose to TJ Dillashaw, but he did. And even though TJ Dillashaw tested positive for EPOs after that, I can't be like, oh, it was the drugs that beat Cody Garbrandt. No, it's the fight IQ, all right? It wasn't drugs that told TJ Dillashaw, once he knocked down Cody, to sit on one of his arms and grab his other arm and start punching him in the face because he couldn't intelligently defend himself, so he got the stoppage. That's just fight IQ. It wasn't drugs that told John Jones to head kick DC at the perfect time or to kick his legs out while he was spinning around and then go for the ground. No, that's fight IQ, all right? Drugs can't do that. Also, John wasn't one of those guys like Johnny Hendricks or Vitor Belfort who, as soon as USADA came in, there was a clear difference in their physique. There was a clear difference in their fight ability. No, John Jones has always been the baddest man on the planet, all right? Drugs or no drugs. You know how I know John's the GOAT? Is because if you had to pick one person to help you fight like a crowd of people, you're picking John Jones, all right? If you're not, you're either stupid or you're lying, all right? Because who are you going to pick? You know, as great as DJ is, he's 125 pounds, all right? He's not going to help you against a crowd of people. Look, Khabib, Islam, they can only leg hump one guy at a time, and then you're back to square one fighting by yourselves. Come on, like John Jones is going to be kicking people's heads off and murdering people with one punch. He's obviously the GOAT. He's the baddest man on the planet. Drugs or not, he is the baddest man on the planet, right? Anybody you lock in a room with, he is going to destroy. And somebody's inevitably going to bring up the Dominic Reyes fight. No. All right. He did not beat John Jones. I hate decisions. It's just that simple. All right. I hate decisions. I don't think a decision should ever let somebody win a belt, or a decision should ever take somebody's goose egg. Or if you're undefeated or something like that, they got to make it a point to let there be a definitive winner. All right. Decisions suck. The 3-panel judge system has been proven to be faulty way too many times. And not just with John. All right. When it happens to anybody, when it happened to DJ, when he lost he had 11 straight title defenses, he's making history. You know, that's a record. And they take it from him off of a decision. That's gross. We need one final round, no time limits, to give us a definitive winner. We're never going to get that. I know they're never going to change the rules, but that's just how I feel. I don't think a decision counts for anybody. Right? I don't think John should have a W over Dominic Reyes, but I also don't think that they should have given him the W. I don't feel bad that he didn't get the W. Where is he now? You know, his chin turned into straight glass. He's been knocked out how many times? Like, does he even fight anymore? Where the f*** has he been? Now, I might not have another chance to talk about this, so I'm going to put it in here now. Tom Aspinall has zero chance against John Jones. It's really that simple. I don't know what y'all are seeing that I'm not, but I'll tell you what I see, all right? Tom Aspinall, the guy who blew out his own knee, blew out his ACL against Curtis Blades, you want to put him in against John Jones, the guy who popularized the oblique kick, the guy who made Thiago Santos have to go get double knee surgery because he kicked him in the knee so hard, huh? Are y'all trying to sacrifice this guy? Like, what the f***? Also, just Tom doesn't have enough heart to take on a challenge as big as John. We saw that clearly with the Cyril Gane fight. It wasn't going his way, and so he used that eye poke as a way to get up. I'm not trying to say that eye poke wasn't egregious, because it was, but he clearly used that eye poke as a way to get out of that fight. You know, he saw it wasn't going the way he wanted, so he got the fuck out. Every fighter knows that you get poked in the eye, you take your 5 minutes, you don't say anything, and you hope your vision comes back. You sure as shit don't stand there in front of the referee saying, "Oh, I can't see, oh, I can't see." Yeah, they're going to stop the fight, asshole. And he's surprised that everybody's booing when it's so clear that he's using this as a way to escape.
I just poked knuckle deep in the eyeball. Why are you booing? What am I supposed to do about it?
It's seriously so wild, but he gets poked super deep in one eye, and then he covers up the other eye. Then he says he can barely open his eye, and they start to show the replay, and he looks up and he's like, "Oh, look." Like, what the f***? Dude, it was so obvious he just wanted out of that cage. And y'all know me, I like to come with the receipts, I like to come with the facts. I really can't this time. I was looking for the video. I was going to try and find the video of him looking up at the replay. I haven't been able to. You know why? Because the UFC is playing damage control, all right? You look up the interview now, the Octagon interview after the eye poke, and for some reason, when he looks up at the replay, they just cut away. They just cut away and show footage of Tom Aspinall randomly just walking around aimlessly. They're so obviously trying to cover this up.
Is it double? Like, what are you seeing when you try to open your eye?
I can hardly open my eye. You just fucking look.
Look at this here. Look at this.
Poke both eyeballs.
And all this happened against Cyril Gane. Remember that, right? Cyril Gane, the guy that John Jones made his heavyweight debut against and choked out in 2 minutes. So, I don't know. Maybe you should know your place, Tommy boy. And I do want to give an honorable mention to Ilia Topuria, because he's very quickly making his case as the GOAT. You know, if he has another 13 knockouts in him or so, without getting knocked out himself, he could very easily be the GOAT. But he's just not there yet for me to mention him. You know, only 17-0 is just not comparable yet. Like, look, y'all don't like John's the GOAT? Fine. Do something about it, all right? You better start training, bitch. And no, this isn't rage bait. I keep seeing shit on my page about people commenting, "Oh, it's just rage bait." No, all right? It's not rage bait, but I will tell you what it is. It's you being a brain-rotted snowflake. If you think anybody with a differing opinion is just rage bait, please take these buzzwords out of your vocabulary and become a human again.